created that. He was one of the first employees of Facebook. And very smart guy, founded a number of companies, and we were having wine one night, and he said, you know what, I don't even interview people anymore. I go, what do you mean you don't interview people you hire? He goes, no, I don't. He goes, I get a referral, I get a few referrals from people I trust, and then I give them small tasks, and if they perform well on that one task, I give them a 30-day probationary period. And then if they do well, then I hire them full-time. He goes, I just give them small tests and let them prove it, because most people, if you interview them, if they're half smart and good at what they do, are going to be very convincing, especially salespeople. And it doesn't always translate to the action you want them to take. So what I'll do in the case of, let's say, let's just use Elance as an example. I'm a big fan of Elance simply because it's the largest and they have fairly good processes in place. Go to elance.com and I'll put up a project or a role that I need to fill. I'll have a number of people come up, and fortunately, since I oftentimes will look at the geographical arbitrage aspect of it, so I find people in Romania who are just as capable, if not more capable, than people in my backyard, but it costs $5 an hour. Okay, well, so for $5 an hour, here's a task that takes 2 to 3 hours. I want it delivered at this, before or at this exact time, 48 hours from now, and I'll trial them that way, and then I'll have them focus on one project for a very short, measurable period of time. So that would be part one, the test drive versus evaluation. Secondly, I do not necessarily look for people who are able to self-manage, because I think that when managers, and this is not my opinion, this is from case studies, and I've also managed 200 to 300 contract employees before. It's a lot of people to deal with. There are 2 ways that I address the problem of self-management. Number one is self-management should not mean they're good at guessing what I want them to do. All right? It's my job to give them very precise objectives with very specific deadlines. But I try to take any process that I am good at, and much like Toyota, deconstruct that process into steps, remove the steps that are unnecessary, and then refine the remaining steps. So I'll give you a concrete example. Most executives, and this includes general partners at a place like Kleiner Perkins, the VC firm, or elsewhere, they'll delegate everything except for email. They'll be like, you know what, I have to check my own email. I just have to. No one else can possibly check my email. As if each person who checks email, and there are quite a few of them, has this unique, amazing, idiot savant-like capability of checking email. So what I did at one point, because it was simply impossible for me I was physically incapable of responding and checking my email, is I went through my email one day and I had a pad of paper and I wrote down the questions that I asked myself and the actions that resulted. So it was very clear that I had 10 to 12 questions I repeatedly asked about certain types of email, how I evaluated email, and then how I responded. There were only 3 or 4 ways that I would respond, if I did at all. And I took all of those rules, put it into a Word document, and just gave it to my assistant. And over the span of about 3 days, she was checking email, I'd say probably 80–90% of what I would do on my own. But suddenly I wasn't spending 50 hours a week checking email. So I think taking internal process or internal expertise and turning it into a step-by-step process. And then lastly, and this is an issue, this is a big issue within growing companies in particular, establishing financial thresholds for independent decision making. So what I mean by that is, at one point I was using a fulfillment company, a national fulfillment company that also I had trained them to do customer service, decline, reversal, returns, etc. and so forth. And there came a point when I was spending many hours, I mean double-digit hours, just contending with questions from these outsourcers. This person needs this shipment for the World Games, and they need it in 3 days. They're in Greece.